So I kind of feel like an idiot because recently I made a video telling you guys about the gatekeepers that lay in wait at GameStop, waiting for the good retro games to come in so that they can snipe them before they even hit the shelves. And like a few days after I made that video, I walk into a GameStop and what do I run into? A complete in-box copy of Pokemon Black 2. So immediately when I saw it, I felt like an idiot. I was like, wow, okay, I just told all of my viewers that there are gatekeepers at GameStop. Now, here's the thing. Even though I did find this complete in box copy of Pokemon Black 2 at a GameStop, just literally sitting on a shelf, and mind you, I found this like later in the afternoon, so it had to have been sitting there all day. Like no one either saw it or came and got it, or I don't know. But the interesting thing about this is that the GameStop that I got this from is very much a heavy Pokemon card GameStop. So this is a GameStop where all of the employees and the majority of the people who shop at this GameStop primarily go there for Pokemon cards. TCG, it's a heavy TCG location. They do TCG events. They have a lot of their like floor space is dedicated towards TCG. And so I think that's a big part of the reason why a game like this was able to survive an entire 2 days sitting on the shelf at a GameStop. And we were able to make it past the final boss, which is the GameStop employees. So just like I said in that video, right? If you do want to try and grab quality retro games from GameStop, you have to either A, try and find a GameStop that leans more towards the Pokemon card scene, that doesn't really have a lot of employees that are really into retro or know about retro. I think that's where you'll have a lot more success. That's one way you could do it. Or what you could do is you could kind of just go after the retro games that are quality titles that maybe the employees or people that go in there may not be interested in. And I've got a couple of examples of what that kind of looks like here. So, one example of that would be a game like Otogi. So, recently I walked into GameStop and they had this complete in box copy of Otogi just sitting on the shelf. Now, a lot of people aren't really gunning for Xbox games like that. So I can understand why like an Xbox game would be sitting on the shelf, but Otogi is actually one of the better Xbox games, and it is an Xbox exclusive on the original Xbox. Now, I picked this one up because the copy that I got earlier in the year was really sun faded, especially on the spine. Like the spine of the game was really sun faded. So this was a significant condition upgrade for me, and that was why I grabbed this one. But again, this isn't something that a lot of the associates at the store, unless they're like diehard collectors, they're really into Xbox, they're not really going to be looking for this. And most, like, even certain collectors probably aren't going to be going after Otogi because it's not a super expensive game. GameStop had it for like 27 bucks, but in the aftermarket, like on eBay, this is probably around a $50 game. So for me, it was a pretty good deal to grab. But then another example would have been a game like Samurai Showdown, right, on the Xbox. Again, the Samurai Showdown games are fairly common, and there's so many ways to play them across a myriad of platforms. But this version of Samurai Showdown is actually exclusive to the Xbox, and so this is another one that, while yes, it's cool and you don't see it that often, it's not one that really that people that work at the store or even certain collectors are really going to jump for. So these are the types of games that I kind of look for when I go to GameStop. Just the stuff that's kind of off the beaten path, like the random hack and slash games, the shoot 'em ups, the beat 'em ups. These are the ones that I actually enjoy and ones that I want to have in my collection. Pokemon games like Pokemon Black 2, very popular, highly sought after resellers type games. Those are the games that typically go flying off the shelf unless you uh, are at a store where just that level of interest and stuff like this just isn't there. Now, there is the luck factor, right? And we're going to talk about the luck factor, which happened to me yesterday. I walked into a GameStop and they had a complete in-box copy of Spider-Man: The Edge of Time. Now, this isn't the best condition copy of Spider-Man: Edge of Time, but it's okay. I'd probably give it a 6.5 to 7 out of 10 condition. However, I got lucky because the employees that were working there that day didn't realize that it was there. I don't know why or how they didn't realize that this was there, but they just didn't realize that it was there. And it was funny because when I brought it to and you'll have different associates, right? You'll have some associates who I know just don't really care about retro games. They don't care because they're just going to show you everything. They're going to be like, oh, you want to see these games? Yeah, sure. They'll empty every single drawer, show you everything they have because they just want you to get the games. Those are the employees that you want to look for because those are your friend. Those are the people who are going to hook you up. And I walked into this GameStop, and the guy that I asked about this game, if it was complete, he was like, "Yeah, man, let me check." And while he had the case in his hand, one of his colleagues or one of the other employees was like, "Oh shoot, we had that game. No, don't sell it, don't sell it." Like he literally, while I was standing there, was saying, he was telling his colleague to tell me that the game was sold out, that they didn't actually have it in stock, which he looked like he was joking, but he was serious because he really wanted this game. GameStop sells this game for around $55. I used a $15 coupon, so I pretty much walked out the store with the game for around $42. I think aftermarket Spider-Man Edge of Time on the Xbox has gone up. I think right now it's around $85, 85 maybe $90. So it was a pretty good deal on the game. But again, I'm saying this to say that if if that employee had had his way, he probably would have prevented me from being able to get this game in particular. Why? Because the Spider-Man games are just popular, especially Shattered Dimensions, Edge of Time, and especially Web of Shadows. Those three Spider-Man games for 7th gen on PS3 and Xbox 360, they're really expensive. Obviously, they're even more expensive on the PS3 because now there's a PS3 tax on all games. But just being able to get these games is interesting. This is the second time I've actually found this game complete in box since I've been out here. The first time I found it, I was able to get it for $37. This time I got it for $42. So it's just one of those things. But again, I'm bringing this up because this is an example of GameStop luck, where I just see the game before anyone else sees it at the store, and when the employees finally realize they have it, they're like, "Shoot, how did I not realize we had that in the store? Damn, when did we get that?" I'll see employees say, "When was that traded in?" because they're just not aware. And that's happened to me with a number of games. So at the end of the day, the opportunities are there. Whether you find a store that doesn't focus more so on retro and has employees that are more focused on TCG, whether you go to a retro GameStop looking for games that most people aren't really going to care about, or you just happen to get lucky and come up on a game that just the employees haven't realized is there yet, there's still opportunity to be had. You can have some luck and find some stuff. It's just one of those things where, again, one of the things that I always say about retro game hunting, especially in 2026, it's a numbers game. The more opportunities you give yourself to find stuff, the more stuff you're going to find. And it's not necessarily about how many hours you spend looking for games per se, but it's about how many visits. I look at it in more so in terms of how many visits I make to a GameStop. It's not about basket hanging in front of the GameStop store waiting for someone to walk in with a trade. You can do that, and maybe some people have success with that, but I definitely don't have the time for that. I have a career, I work, I got a family, I got kids. And so for me, my best strategy is visiting the store. Even if I visit the store 15 times a week, but each visit lasts about 2 minutes. So I spent a total of 30 minutes, going to GameStop. And typically I was near that GameStop because I was already doing something in the area, whether it was getting food, grocery shopping, dry cleaning, gas, whatever the case may be. If you include travel time, maybe I'm spending an hour and 15 minutes a week making those 15 visits to GameStop, but each visit is an opportunity for me to score something like a Pokemon Black 2. And am I going to score that every day? No. But at least I'm giving myself opportunities. So you guys let me know what you think about this in the comments, and I'll catch you in the next one. It's the Y2K Collector. Take it easy.